Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a specific idea from your source material. It's called the infinite holding company strategy.
Yeah, attributed to Marcellus. And it's positioned as, well, a pretty fundamentally different way to think about building wealth.
Right. Different from the usual noise,
Yeah,
the market timing, chasing the next hot thing.
exactly. The idea here, as presented, is to build something durable, something that might even outlast the usual market cycles.
So our mission is to kind of unpack that, see what's actually inside this strategy. What's the core thinking?
And the source connects it to some timeless ideas,
Wow.
drawing on wisdom from people like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger. It's got that kind of feel to it.
Okay. So less about predicting the future, more about structure in philosophy, maybe.
That's the framing. It's presented as focusing on owning wisely rather than just owning a lot of stuff or trying to be clever.
All right, let's get into it then. Where does this start? What's the foundation?
Well, Marcus apparently starts with this core question: what are we really trying to build here? And it definitely echoes that Buffett idea. The ideal holding period being, forever.
But there's a catch, right? The source points out holding forever only works if the thing you're holding actually deserves it.
Precisely. It's not just blind holding. It's about building like a system that knows what should be in it and why it's there.
More intentional than just collecting stocks.
Much more. The goal stated is owning assets that, quote, earn for you while you sleep. And importantly, protect you when the world doesn't.
Okay, so protection and earning. Not necessarily about hitting home runs every time.
Seems that way. The contrast is drawn pretty clearly. Not about outsmarting everyone or timing the Fed, but about simply owning wisely.
Okay, I get the philosophy. It's about durability, wise ownership. So what does this infinite holding company actually contain? What's the architecture?
Yeah, the structure. The source lays out four, actually quite simple, parts that are meant to work together.
4 parts. Okay, what's the first one?
First, you've got what are called income engines. These are framed as the cash flow machines.
Cash flow machines. Okay. Examples.
The source mentions things like Devo, SpanYI, JPI, specific ETFs, often focused on dividends or covered calls, things like that.
And the description used is...
Not flashy, but consistent. That's the key. Their job is just to generate that regular income.
Got it. Income engines for steady cash. What's next?
Number 2, behavioral fortresses. These are basically companies chosen for their underlying strength and resilience.
Fortresses. I like that. Like what kind of companies?
Examples given are Realty Income, okay, United Health, UNH, VCI Properties, VCI, big established names.
And what makes them fortresses according to this?
It points to things like strong brands, high switching costs, wide moats, those classic durable competitive advantages that make them hard to disrupt.
Okay, so steady income generators, and then these really solid, hard-to-beat businesses. What's the third part?
This one's interesting, volatility harvesters.
The volatility harvesters. What do they do?
The description is they don't fight chaos, they use it.
Oh.
Yeah, this is where it gets a bit more complex, perhaps. Examples given are SVOL or NVDY. These are often strategies that aim to profit from market turbulence itself, maybe using options or volatility futures.
So they're not just riding the market up and down. They're trying to extract value from the swings.
That seems to be the idea. Definitely a less conventional component compared to, say, owning UNH. It aims to potentially benefit when things get choppy.
Fascinating. Okay, income engines, fortresses, volatility harvesters. What's the fourth piece?
The fourth are the stabilizers. These are the components meant to provide ballast, let you make decisions calmly.
The safety element. Like what?
Your source mentions things like TLTW, which is a treasury options income ETF, or just plain old cash or other fixed income.
And the description fits that role.
Yeah. These aren't sexy, but they let you sleep well and act slow. Their job is really capital preservation, liquidity, smoothing things out.
Right, the cushion. Okay, so 4 distinct roles. Income, durability, using volatility, and stability. How do they supposedly work together?
The source uses this great analogy, a financial immune system.
Immune system. How so?
Well, the idea is each part kind of keeps the others in balance. The income engines provide cash to potentially reinvest. The fortresses offer that core stability. The harvesters might smooth things out during rough patches.
Though they have their own risks, clearly.
Absolutely. And the stabilizers are that ultimate safety net and source of dry powder. It's all meant to be focused on resilience, not adrenaline.
I like that. Resilience, not adrenaline. It feels calmer. And there's a strict rule about what doesn't get in, right?
Oh, yeah, a very clear one. If something can break your peace or your process, it's out. No exception.
Break your piece or your process. That really emphasizes the psychological side of investing, too.
Completely. And that ties straight into the influence of Charlie Munger that the source highlights.
Munger, his famous rule.
The first rule is not to be stupid.
And the second rule,
Is usually, don't forget rule one.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that focus on just avoiding big mistakes, that's central here.
It seems to be the absolute core, the soul of the strategy, as the source puts it. It's not about trying to be the smartest person in the room or, outguess the market.
It's about trying to outlast it.
Exactly. Framing it as wealth architecture, not just trading or picking stocks.
Architecture implies design, purpose.
Precisely. The source says, every asset has a role. Every dollar has a duty. It's about being very deliberate.
Okay, so we have the why, the durable philosophy, we have the what, the four-part architecture. What's the actual goal then? What's the end game Marcus describes?
It's boiled down to 3 words: control, simplicity, peace.
Control, simplicity, peace. That's quite different from maximum possible return.
Very different. Marcus is quoted saying, we're not trying to be rich fast, we're trying to be in control forever.
In control forever. What does that look like in practice?
The outcomes highlighted are things like no forced selling, you're never backed into a corner, no margin calls, obviously.
All right, avoiding leverage risks.
And this one I like. No complexity we can't explain to a 12-year-old.
That's a fantastic test for understanding something, isn't it? If you can't explain it simply.
Maybe you don't understand it well enough, or maybe it's just too complicated for this kind of peaceful strategy. It brings it back to the core mechanism described: owning quiet cash flow machines and letting time do the compounding.
Quiet machines, letting time work. It sounds very patient.
Extremely patient. It's about building something designed to just endure and generate value steadily, hopefully without giving you ulcers.
So, summarizing this, the infinite holding company strategy, as presented, isn't necessarily aiming to be the smartest portfolio in terms of maximizing short-term gains.
No, it seems the goal is to be the most durable one, built with intention, focusing on that simplicity, designed to weather different storms.
And the feeling, if it's built right according to this source, is that you wouldn't need that constant market checking, the anxiety.
Because you'd have this underlying confidence, this sense that, as the source puts it, it's working. Quietly, constantly, forever.
Quietly, constantly, forever. It's a powerful image. What's really interesting is how that focus, durability, simplicity piece challenges how we often think about success in investing, which is usually just about the return percentage.
It definitely shifts the focus.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. Considering this deep dive into durability and peace over just chasing returns, how might this approach challenge or maybe realign your own thinking about what makes a portfolio truly successful for the long, long run? Something to chew on.